Hi, Sally Hancock here, and I am here to I'm going to share a project that I actually made last year. So I found this lovely, it's called let's see if I can back up and get it all in. It's called the Fall Floral Wreath project in Design Space, and it is still there. So what I did was I went through my whole process. So it will have a lot of tutorials about Design Space. Some of it might be outdated. I checked the project is still in Design Space, and it's called the Fall Floral Wreath. So the way I found it in the video might be a little bit different, but if you just go in the search bar on the home page and look for the Fall Floral Wreath, it should be there. Now, a few things were different about this project than what it said in the description. It said it would take 1 to 2 hours. Don't believe it. It was a really, really big project. I mean, there's all these flowers. Oh, just folding the leaves in half, or the petals in half, took at least 1 to 2 hours. It probably took 1 to 2 hours to cut everything as well. There are a lot of components to this. So if you're going to do it, I suggest you make sure the paper's on sale, and it's a really good sale because there is 35 mats to cut it out. But it turned out so beautiful. I don't know if you can tell how it looks very well. Let's see. Ooh, if I can figure out my camera. There we go. I love it. I think it was worth all the effort, but if you're interested to see how to make it, stay tuned.
Okay, so I'm on my desktop and I'm just going to double click to open my Cricut Design Space. Let's make that full screen. And you see I'm logged in, so make sure you're logged in. And I already know what project I want to make, but I found it by going, here's my projects, and then here's some feature projects. Some nice designs there. But I wanted something fall. So I looked down, let's see, where did here, Fall in Love. So it has a lot of really cute fall projects. I just browsed through and I stopped at this because I thought that was so beautiful. So I decided to make this wreath. So you just click on the picture and it opens up this instruction page, and it has these little arrows so you know there's more pictures. These little dots tell you how many pictures. So it shows you a close-up of the pretty flowers, and then this shows you the pieces that the Cricut will cut out. So then if you scroll down, you can see this little print button. So you can print out these instructions. That will help when you are working on your project. It will, then you can just look back at that. So while your Design Space is open, then you can refer back to these instructions. It says the finished size right here, 12 by 12. Oh, up here it says intermediate, and it'll take 1 to 2 hours to make. Here it lists all your materials you'll need to cut, and then other things that you will need. It says to have a standard grip cutting mat, 2 of them, because that will be helpful, because then you can be taking your cut pieces off while another one is cutting, because there is many, many pieces to cut. You also need your scoring stylus, an 18-inch wreath form, a hot glue gun and glue sticks, and adhesive foam squares. Repair, you insert the scoring stylus into the accessory clamp, and then follow the instructions to cut and score the flowers from cardstock. And then it says assemble flowers using hot glue gun and glue sticks. Now, I really love how they've updated these instructions in Design Space, because now they have a link that'll go right to the cartridge instruction manual. And it tells you which pages that you'll need for this project. And then down here it tells you the images and the fonts used in this project, branch, flower, leaves. So all these different images are used. And if you are a Cricut Access member, then it won't cost you anything. So if you're not an Access member, I am not sure how much this project would be. So I am an Access member, so I will not be charged anything. Also, there's more help. So there's a video you can go to that shows you different things that can help you make this project, and then cardstock paper tips and tricks. So that will help you to know which side of the paper you can use, what kind of cardstock would be best, and things like that. So I will click on this link. And now I can't remember which pages it said. Pages 9 to 11. So down a ways. It has page numbers here in the corner. So we need pages 9, 10, and 11 that will show us how to make this flower. They don't really show it done. Like this one, they show all done. But this one, well, it kind of does. So you make the center, and then you glue the petals on this one, and then there's this little one, and then you layer them up. And that is how you do that one. So I think I will print this out so I can refer to it. And so we know we need pages 9 through 11. And it will show you a preview. Well, mine shows a print preview of what it's going to print. So it'll take 3 pages, but could have fit on less, but that's okay. We'll make it work. Print. Now my printer is printing those pages. And while it's printing, we can go back and just follow the same steps. Again, I forgot to look what pages 24 to 26. Okay, now that you've got your instructions printed out, if you want a few more tips, you can click on either of these links. They actually are the same video. This one takes you to YouTube, and this one takes you to the Cricut website, which has the exact same video on it. And as we go along, I will tell you the tricks and tips that I found most helpful in these videos. Plus, there was another video that showed a little bit more in depth how to assemble these flowers. So once you are done looking at this, and again, you can print off this whole sheet. Let's click on that and see what happens. So you have 3 sheets of paper, and it will tell you your instructions and some of the pictures. So maybe let's just, probably we don't need this because it just shows what images and fonts. So let's just print the first 2 pages. So page 1, 2. Get started. Okay, now that we have all our instructions set and ready to go, of course you do not need to print all of those things if you don't want to, because I will walk you through this step by step. So you can either customize this project if you don't want to make it fit an 18-inch wreath. You can make them bigger or smaller by going to customize, and I'll show you what that looks like. Canvas. It says it's large, so it might take a moment to load. And you can see them all here. And as you can see, yes, it is quite large. So you can change the sizes on here by clicking on anything and then just changing the size. I'm not going to do that because of so many components. I'm afraid that I would change how everything would fit together. So I'm leaving it as it is. So from here, you can just click Make It. But if you went and did not click on that setting, let me find, Home. Just click on Home, and then you'll have to go back in. Just find that project. And this. And then you can just go straight to Make It from right here if you are not going to change the size. Okay, so this is my plug-in. My machine is not plugged in right now. So I'm going to click Don't Reload, and in a minute I will plug in my machine. So here it'll show you all the mats, and it has them colored so you can know which color of cardstock to put in. And as you can see, it's fairly large, and it just shows each mat and what it's going to cut on each mat. So 38 mats. It's going to take a while to cut. So when you're ready to cut, then you can just do Continue. If you wanted to make several wreaths at once, you can go up here and change where it says Project Copies and choose however many you'd like to make, and then click Apply. I only need one, so I don't need to click Apply because it's already just set to one. Then it will show you, let's click Continue. There's nothing you need to do now. I do need to connect my device and set the material and load the tools and mat and press go.
So here are the colors that I chose. I went to Michael's and I am using Basil cardstock. It has a textured side and a smooth side. And I think I'll use the textured side up. And so the colors I chose, this is Avalanche for my off-white. For my orange, I chose Carrot Cake. For my dark orange, Pumpkin Patch. For my sage, I chose Lily Pond. For dark green, I have Avocado. For my green, I have Bankroll. And then the lime green, I have Granny Smith. So I'm going to put those in the order that they are cut on the mats. And then we can start cutting. So one of the tips that was shared on one of the videos I watched was to use the standard grip mat, except when you have delicate stamens or tiny petals, use the light grit mat. So this cut is just a spiral, and so I'm just going to use my standard grip mat. Okay, before you start cutting, make sure that your dial is set to the material you're using. I am using the Basil cardstock from Michael's. I don't see a weight anywhere on the paper, so I am just setting it to the regular cardstock. There's also light cardstock, and then this button here will make it to where it will cut a little bit, use a little bit more pressure. So if you have a really thick cardstock, then you'll want to set it to here. I am just leaving it on regular cardstock. So you need to put the paper on your mat in this top corner. Well, it won't be a corner because it'll take the full 12-inch width. But I chose to use the textured side on top. Make sure if you have a little strip that it's down at the bottom so that it doesn't show up in your cut. And make sure that it is pressed down everywhere and you don't have some edges poking up, or that can mess up your cut. Then you just want to slide it in. Make sure you are under these guides here. And then you just want to gently push it against your rollers and push this flashing arrow. Let me zoom back out so you can see the, so you can see the flashing arrow. And this will load your mat. So just push that and the machine will get ready to cut. When you're ready, the flashing C will go, and then you just go ahead and push that and your machine will start cutting the first mat. And while you're waiting, if you have another mat, you can start loading that so that you can be ready to go when it's time to do the next cut. Okay, I'm finding that these are not quite cutting clean through. So I'm going to come over here and change my setting from cardstock, just one click over to the heavier cardstock and see if that helps. Okay, so a few of these kind of got messed up when I was cutting them out, and I think I just didn't make sure that they were, you know, good onto the mat. Like maybe there was some places where the paper wasn't quite all the way adhered to the mat. But this piece only had the one on it, and so I should have plenty of room. I think I'll just have to redo probably just this one and this one. So I'm just going to recut those. Okay, well, while I was cutting, I noticed that the pieces weren't quite coming all the way out, and I had been cutting with the texture side up. So for the rest of them, I flipped it and did it on the smooth side. Also, that helped on the pieces that had scoring for me to see the score line. But all the rest of the pieces are all cut out now, and I've separated them into their shapes and colors, and then I can get started on assembling the flowers.